close touch with her from 2006 up to her passing. And I viewed she wanted to write a couple of books. She finished her book about caring for Gus. And she had written a diary of her work with East Village Other, and it lasted from 1970 through 71. During the final years, we were in close touch. I must have 50 pages of emails from her. And so this is got some music, but also some reality of what she faced in her good spirits. She was born as Jacqueline Diamond, December 21st, 1947, but we knew her as Coca Crystal. I first saw her gleaming in a red miniskirt at a party put on by the East Village Other. And later I knew her as a member of the Emma Goldman Brigade. She was a writer. She was very witty and creative, full of life, and she kept a very interesting diary. And she wrote for the East Village Other, the New York Ace, and Avant-Garde. But we knew her as Coca Crystal. And in the mid-70s, she took on the raising and upkeep of a child named Gus, to whom she dedicated her constant care for the next 41 years. And 2 years after starting to care for Gus, she began in late 1977 a one-hour television show. If you can't dance, you can keep your revolution, on Manhattan Public Access. She kept her show going for 18 years. My co-FUG founder, Thule Kupferberg, was a regular on her show. The last broadcast of the Coca Crystal show was in May of 1995, after the cable company switched her time to Fridays at 11 a.m. So she called it quits. Coca was a marvelous hostess, remembers Thelma Blitz. I remember Coca with Gus in his motor cart in the balcony of the Fugs reunion concert at the Knitting Factory in New York City in 2004. She had put together a manuscript of her 1970 diary, which she sent to me in late 2006, a few months after she started her bout with lung cancer. She wrote me when she had sent her 76-page 1970 diary, quote, "I have several other projects. One is a book about Gus and how taking care of Gus led to doing the TV show for 18 years. I was hoping the diary would lead into it. I have worked on this idea off and on for 30 years. The promise being that you can give love and expect nothing in return. The show was an exercise in not expecting anything either. January 2008, Coco sent a letter. We talked about Walter Boart's several obituaries. And then she announced, I have received a wonderful present. Last October, I went down to Sloan Kettering for my 6-month lung cancer checkup, which was good. She talked about Gus. And she was overwhelmed with feeling good about her long-term care. I replied, I think your story, when you tell it with elan, she was talking about writing this book about her experiences with Gus. When you tell it with elan, grace, openness, and even anger at the gods, it will be very well received. She wrote back, you had written, I like how you say I sacrificed a whole career, but in a better way I did not. Suggesting I may not have given up a career so much as having found one. So in 2013, Coca responded to an email I had sent. I was nudging her about her writing. You know, I'm a good nudger of fellow writers, so she was on my list of people I was nudging. And I asked about her health and writing. She replied that a CAT scan showed a suspicious mass, which made her doctors suspect lymph node involvement. I'm managing to, she had a endobronchial ultrasound, which proved that there was no cancer. So she was very happy. I am managing to keep Gus and I fed and in clean clothes. And then she wrote, I have been trying to forgive myself for not being able to do more. July 23rd, 2013, she wrote about her writing. I have been writing on a more regular basis, not sure where it's going. I try to go over some idea every night. For instance, our vacations in a state park in the Thousand Islands, her and Gus. I have been compiling little vignettes and about all kinds of small topics, which will be woven into an ongoing story titled tentatively, The Care and Keep of Gustav Shea, an owner's manual. July 14th, I'd written Coca telling her about a nest of carpenter ants that had invaded a barn that housed my archive. She replied, quote, a woodchuck named Franklin had the nerve to eat all the flowers from my hanging basket the day after I put them in the basket. December 13th, 2013, she'd have further medical problems. What had thought to be a lung infection turned out to be a rare condition called a fistula on the esophagus, caused by the radiation I had for cancer in my lung. So she spent a couple of weeks in Sloan Kettering, and she got ready to have a procedure called a transhiatal esophagectomy. And so she sent me an email just before the esophagectomy and says I don't mind admitting that I'm a little nervous and even scared. The first surgery, her sister, Coca, who took care of her in the final years, Jill, excuse me, September 17, 2014. Jill emailed, the first surgery didn't go as well as planned, and the second emergency surgery was performed on February 14th. And then a letter in 2014 from Coco that she was in the rehab on West Houston Street, And she gets therapy twice a week, she said. I hope it is enough. And then she was waiting to gain weight, to have a surgery where it's a valid surgery for a hole in the esophagus, which is to patch on a piece of colon. So her last 2 years of her life were spent trying to heal herself enough and gain enough weight so that she could have this final operation, because she wrote me, I really want to eat and drink again. She was looking forward to that. So by April, she had a relationship with an agent that didn't do well. Like agents did, this agent just salted away the manuscript and didn't really respond. So Thelma Blitz, in April of 1915, reported on a visit she'd had with Coca, who was in Sloan Kettering. And Coca had 2 books ready for publication, the diary from 1970 and a second book detailing her care and upkeep of Gustav Shea. And she was looking for a publisher. So I sent my agent, Jim Fitzgerald, the manuscript for the East Village Other diary. And then April 14th, email from Coco. She was back in Ulster County. Her sister Jill was on hand, and she said to me, she wrote, I am sorry that I am not well enough to take care of myself as Gus. So she was still worrying about her inability. So then I'll close with some music. Because her final 2 years, she was trying to gain enough weight to have this final operation so she could eat and drink, and she lost out in the battle against the Grim Reaper. Coca wrote me she was upset that she couldn't continue to care for Gus, and she was planning for his future care when he was gone. Though many of us sent streams of healing vibrations, Coca entered the spirit on March 1st of this year. She was born Jacqueline Diamond, December 21st, 1947. But we cherished her as Coca Crystal, and she was an emblem of deportment, a model for goodness and clarity. Coca Crystal, your name is inscribed on the list of good. Ah, Coca Crystal, you're one of the names on the final banner. The final banner. The final banner. Oh, yeah.